Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sheila and I'm a naturopathic doctor working here in Toronto, and today I wanted to talk to you about fiber. I mentioned it in a previous video about insulin resistance, and today I just wanted to expand on that a bit for you. So I don't know if you've heard of fiber. It does get tossed around a lot as something healthy that you should be doing for yourself. Maybe you've never thought of it before, and maybe this video will kind of open your eyes a bit as to why it might be a good idea to include more fiber in your diet. So I always like to start out with what is fiber. So fiber is actually the indigestible part of plants that it gets broken down into two groups. So we have soluble, dissolves in water, and insoluble, doesn't dissolve in water. And they actually have different functions and different health benefits. So insoluble fiber is primarily a bulking agent, which is exactly what it sounds. It adds more bulk to your bowel movements. And then soluble fiber kind of dissolves in water and becomes a gel, and therefore it kind of also helps keep you regular. So the number one health benefit of fiber is actually just keeping you regular and helping you deal with constipation, which is much more prevalent than you would actually think. So if that's the number one health benefit of fiber and the one that you always hear about, some of these other ones maybe you haven't heard of. So I always talk about gut health, and fiber is actually a really big part of gut health. So the microbiome, which is the term that we use to describe all the bacteria that live in your gut, they have a far-reaching benefit for the body. We just don't even know all the ways in which these bacteria are helping us out. There's lots of research in this area, and one of the things about fiber is that it actually doesn't go into the bloodstream. It actually stays in the colon, and therefore it ferments. At least soluble fiber will ferment and create something called a short-chain fatty acid, which will feed your gut. So your cells lining the gut can use it as fuel, but also the bacteria will use it. So healthy microbiome, healthy gut health, reduced inflammation. There's just lots of ways in which it's really beneficial to have fiber in your diet and to promote gut healing. So keeping you regular, having a healthy gut, and then some of the things that you might be interested in is that fiber is really important when we're talking about keeping you full for longer, which is always great because my patients really struggle with kind of the highs and lows of their energy, and they don't quite know what to do about that. So if you're having a meal that's all kind of sugar and carbs, it's going to hit you pretty hard, pretty fast, and then you're going to crash. So fiber, if you add it in, what it does is it slows down your digestion. So instead of it hitting you all at once, it's actually your energy is going to be released nice and slowly so that you can maintain it for longer. And that slow digestion also keeps you full for longer. So you're going to feel satiated, and you're going to feel just your ability to maintain your energy for longer. Kind of a side benefit is that it might help you lose weight as well, right? So if you're trying to calorie restrict in order to lose weight, you want to feel as full as possible for as long as possible, right? Because that will help you eat less calories, and fiber is just one way to do that. So I've been doing lots of things with my hands, and my favorite thing to point out is blood sugar regulation. So that's another thing that fiber is really good at doing. It blunts your spikes in sugar, and therefore it helps you out with that crash too. So when we eat a bunch of sugar, we get a blood sugar spike, and then we always get that crash. So again, fiber comes in here and just smooths that out for us, so then we don't get those highs and lows throughout the day. So there's lots of ways that fiber just makes your kind of day-to-day better. It also helps with disease prevention. So there's a couple different ways. One that makes a lot of sense is that it helps you reduce your risk of diabetes. So we just mentioned blood sugar regulation and blood sugar spikes. And we also mentioned a little bit about weight management. And both of those things kind of come into play in terms of diabetes. So having adequate fiber reduces your risk of diabetes. And number two is heart health. So if you're someone who has been struggling with heart disease, or possibly you have just been told that your cholesterol is high, and a doctor is kind of telling you you have to watch that or do something, well, what are you supposed to do? Actually, you can just eat more fiber. So fiber has this way of, again, keeping you regular, and a side benefit of being regular is that you're also pulling cholesterol out of the body. So if you're not regular, cholesterol will be recycled by the body, but if you are regular and your transit time, that time of having your bowels move, if that is in a good condition, you'll actually be able to expel more cholesterol. So that's kind of one of the ways in which having adequate fiber can really help out your heart. And then lastly is actually the research really supports fiber in terms of reducing risk of colorectal cancer. And again, that has to do with regularity. But then there's also the everything that has fiber in it also has lots of antioxidants and lots of other nutrients. So it's not as straightforward as saying just the fiber component is helpful for reducing risk of colorectal cancer. It's a little bit more complicated than that, because there's just lots of really great health benefits of the foods that happen to contain fiber. So just to recap, all the ways that you can benefit from eating fiber. So number 1, keeps you regular. Number 2, creates gut health, healthy microbiome. Number 3, it's going to keep you full for longer, maybe help you lose weight. Number 4, reduce those blood sugar spikes. Number 5, reduce your risk of diabetes. Number 6, give you some heart health and reduce your cholesterol. And then lastly, it's going to help you reduce your risk of colorectal cancer. So I've told you everything, all the whys, but then the what? What should you actually be eating? So my go-tos for soluble fiber: oats, any sort of seeds, but I really like flax and chia, and then lentils or legumes like beans and chickpeas. So that's kind of my go-tos for soluble. Insoluble, just eat all the veggies. Eat tons of veggies, and then whole grains and wheat bran. So that's it for fiber. If you have any more questions about naturopathic medicine or myself, you can always go to my website, which is in the comments, and you feel free to send me an email as well. Be well.